program because I want to be able to do this better. What's going on, guys? It's Lord Addict here. Me and King are here. We killing it, man. We doing this on Valentine's Day. I almost lost my relationship over this. No, I'm joking. That's why I'm all dressed up. I'm leaving right after the show to go out. But first off, welcome to the stream, Awful. He said it's the first time he's been here, King. First time he's been on R&R with the Lords.
Mr. Grimbones, awful Grimbones. Greetings, and as Maddie says, salutations.
Salutations. Yeah, they always think it's funny when he says that. So, what's going on, you guys? R&R with the Lords. We talk about entertainment, movies, TV. We talk about anything pretty much on the big screen, the small screen, the side screen, anything you want to think of. We talk about it. We do got a pretty good show for you guys today. We're going to go over The Last of Us episode 5 breakdown, obviously. That's one of the hottest things out there right now. We cannot not talk about that. We're going to also talk about a movie that I found. It's got a little gem. It's called The Fall, which is funny. I found it through TikTok. We'll get into that later on. And then we're going to talk about the Flash trailer. I know a lot of people want to hear our opinions on it. Actually, I have a Patreon dedicated to Flash, a Patreon question. And then obviously we got, the up-to-dates, I know King's watching you and King's still watching Attack on Titan. So we'll briefly go over Attack on Titan because we are doing live reactions. So if you want to see the majority of, that, you will go over there for that. But you will talk about that. So, King... The you.
All right, so you. I don't know where I left off. Oh, I left off to where he got the girl, and he was a two pump chump, a 1 second man. It didn't look good for the kid. He was going through normal anxieties. As a man, and he's checking her phone because remember he still has her old phone and is still connected and he's still getting the text messages. So remember, this is season 1, guys, and I'm getting acclimated to what's going on with Joe. So Joe is seeing that she's still down with it, but she has a deep dark secret, and she's he thought she was hooking up with somebody for the weekend. The guy sent her $500 to go get an outfit, and it
did look like some sugar daddy thing going on there.
It looked kind of crazy when old boy hopped out the car. I was like, wow. So why didn't she just sleep with the teacher? I'm like, the teacher looked like a better option than this old fogey that hopped out the whip. I'm like, oh, buddy, what's going on here? And then he had on this pirate suit. I'm like, I don't know what kink stuff they into. I said, I don't know what Addict has me watching, but Come to find out, that was her father, who she claimed was dead, but he wasn't dead. But he was dead to her because he left their family, her mom's, and herself, and found a new family. Um, and it was really through his journey to becoming sober. He found this evangelist that was at the church, and she helped guide him, or felt that she helped guided him on his way to becoming sober. So, the daughter always felt that he felt beholden to her helping him, and that's the resentment that she has for them. And then the family don't like her because it's tied to the past. So it's a big clusterbuck, if you want to use those words, in the situation. But Joe was there. Joe went and got the room right next to where she was staying, and she sees him in the crowd, and Joe got his stalker game A+. Oh my God, chef's kiss for his stalker game. His stalker game is probably the best stalker game. I don't want no one to stalk me the way Joe stalked. Joe stalked the best.
He's very detailed. Like, he knows what to look for. He knows when he's being looked at. He knows when to not linger too long. Like, he is literally the definition of like a private detective that you would never want on you.
Facts. He gets all the info. He even started jogging to stay up with Peaches. Well, Peach. And every now that he finds out that that's her pops, and they had this whole big thing, and she kind of screams on Joe because Joe confronts her with the raw truth of the matter with her pops and how she was behaving. She kind of yelled him out, and kind of bit his head off. And Joe, he's a weird fellow because he's not an aggressive person. It's just I'm getting to know him. So his personality right now seems non-confrontational. He doesn't want to do things unless forced to do things, or he feels like he's backed in a corner or something.
Do you see what I was talking about on, how they portray him, and they do a good job where starting to make you like low-key feel bad that you're like low-key rooting for him?
Yeah, well, I'm sympathetic to Joe in some instances. Like, I was definitely sympathetic to Joe when he's a 2-pump chump. Nobody wants that type of action, but I mean, your big homie's supposed to tell you're supposed to pregame before you even sit down and have the Super Bowl. But he didn't know that, and he went in a little dry, and situations got crazy. But now they're back, and they're getting into the swing of things, and he happens to have a redemption song with her, and he does his thing, and now they're like a couple. And she's presenting him to her friends, and Joe is playing the game on how to pit friends against each other because he knows Peach is out for blood when it comes to anything that Guinevere likes, and she's trying to separate him from her. And she's at Peaches and Peaches also makes sure that she drives enough wedge in between the other friends that she becomes a so isolated friend that she can go to and depend on. And that's like a weird dynamic. And come to find out that this girl has been stalking a Guinevere for a long time because she's in love with this girl. And it took Snoopy Joe to find out all the information and all the tea. But I got to the part, this is where I ended it off, right? I got to this part. Joe's jogging, he's running behind, and he got his win now. Joe can actually keep up with this broad, and she's jogging, and he's running behind her, and he bashes her in the head with a brick. She falls out. He thinks she's dead. He runs off real hard, real fast, and he gets back to his apartment where the little boy has poisoned his mother's boyfriend, and Joe, turns him over, gets him to cough up the pills, and then the guy turns over and beats the crap out of Joe. And Joe's laying there. He didn't fight back. Joe, like I said, he's non-confrontational. Unless
you know what the best thing about that show is? Like, his navigation, him talking to you when everything's going on. Like, he'll sit there and he'll start to get beat up by it. He's like, he'll like make a smart ass comment on what he's doing in his head, and you can hear it because he's navigating the show. Like,
Yeah, and it's so crazy. His narration is nuts because he says while he's getting beat up, "This is karma for the bad thing that I've done today, and I deserve this." And it's like self-punishment is what he's putting himself through, and he's laying there bloody. And then Guinevere calls, and he picks up, and he's like, "Hello," and she's like, "Yeah, Peach has been attacked in the park, and we're at the hospital." And he's like, "What? She's alive?" And that's where it cuts. And I'm on to that. So yeah, you have me thoroughly invested inside of you. Pause. That's but yeah, and you wanted me to watch Fall. So, full disclosure, guys.
oh, we do. Let's talk a little bit about the the elephant in the room, man. You know what that is. For those of you that don't know, we do have a Patreon, and I know some of you wanted King to react to the Attack on Titan stuff, so he did. He reacted to the female Titan versus Levi. This is live, like straight up live, but you can watch this in real time. It's on our Patreon. It's in the description. You can look for the Patreon and give a brief analysis on Levi's strength now that you've seen him like fight a little bit on his peak.
I have conflicting thoughts about this man. I despise him, and I despise him to his core because I don't like him. I don't like him at all. But I can't not deny the man's skill. His skill. Oh my God. He does a move when I think this Titan has him dead to rights. And he goes up this Titan's arm straight to the eye socket. The Titan couldn't react. The Titan never seen this move ever. Neither has anybody in the survey team, to be honest with you. And the way that he cuts down this Titan is with doctor precision, like a scalpel going through flesh. It's nuts. It's nuts to see, but I still think he's a despicable, deplorable human being.
So tell the chat why you think he's despicable.
Because he doesn't share his moves. If he would have shared his moves with his team, anytime somebody wants full disclosure on what somebody else is doing, like, hey man, I want you to tell me everything that you're doing. I want to know everything about you. I want you to be full transparent with me. And this is where he is a terrible person, because he doesn't give exactly what he's looking for from others.
So I will say, I'm not going to ruin anything. I will say there's a reason he can't teach his skills.
I believe you.
Yeah, there's actually only one other person in the whole show that can be just as good as him.
Well, he is nice as hell. Still deplorable.
So that's pretty much all when it comes to that. I think that you guys will enjoy those live reactions. His female one came out today. I was going to launch it tomorrow, but I was like, since it's R&R, let's do it today. And that way you guys can go in there and enjoy that. For the people that's sub to the $7 tier on the Patreon. Like I said, it's in the description below. So let's talk about Fall. So
yeah, please.
Fall pretty much, Fall is a movie of two friends, two women. They're extremists. They love to climb the highest mountains, Mount Everest, stuff like that. And at the beginning of the show, they had a tragedy. And so that pretty much one of them, they're both adrenaline junkies, but one took it way worse than the other. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it's been like a couple months since I've seen it. Both of them may have not been there. It may have just been one. Right. But that one was pretty much where they could no longer do that adrenaline stuff. They were scared. Wow. Because they had a tragedy that happened and someone passed away from the tragedy. So this one's pretty much like the one that is still doing the stuff, trying to get her best friend to, go ahead and jump into that again. It's been like 6 months to a year. I understand you had trauma. We got to work through this trauma, because you keep in mind, even though that she's traumatized, like, she still misses it. She just can't bring herself to do it anymore.
So she doesn't have the nerve anymore.
Yeah. So pretty much what it's about is for her to fight that trauma. They climb a giant cell phone tower that's rusted, and they get stuck at the top. And this isn't one of those things where they can. This is like easily a couple hundred foot in the air. Like, there's no way they can live falling off this thing.
Yeah.
And then the ladder that connects the bottom half to the top breaks when they're climbing down. So they're stuck up there. No cell phone reception, nothing. They try whatever they can to get like a message to the bottom to show they're there. But it's what I like about this show is, ever since we started on R&R, I've been giving a lot more like B-rated movies a chance.
Yeah.
And what I like about this is they do a good pacing. You find out they have a lot of drama between them that, the one that was traumatized kind of knew, but she never confronted. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, when they're up at this top, they happen to fight through this trauma, fight through hunger, fight through being dehydrated. And they're trying and keep in mind, it's in the middle of the desert, so no one's coming.
Wow.
So it's about that.
The other one jump on the top of the other one and jump off so she can.
No. I won't ruin it, but I recommend everyone go try it. It's on Stars right now. You can go play it, and I think that this is definitely a good movie to watch. I would give it a 3-star, 4-star around that area. Okay. Probably 3.
Full popcorn.
Yeah, right, 3 popcorn. I do feel like it's worth a watch. Like, I feel like there's very few movies I'll watch twice. Usually I'll give anything once, but there's very few movies I'll watch more than once.
Well, more than likely, I'm going to get a chance to check that out this week. Like I said, I lost a whole day on Sunday when I was burning the candle at both ends. I thought I would be able to make it to the podcast in time.
If you look at the video I sent, the picture that's in the podcast,
that's ridiculous.
That's where they are. That's how much room they have up there.
Why you don't go with a parachute? That's or glider.
See, they're adrenaline junkies. They believe in taking as less stuff up there as possible. They're like survival junkies too. Like they don't believe they did take stuff up there, but there is a reason why they don't have as much stuff as they normally would. Something does happen. Okay, it's crazy, man. They try to get down multiple different ways. I'll say there's some twists in the movie, man. Like I said, there's drama between them that's brought up at the top of this thing. You can see the amount of space that they have on this thing. It is nothing, like nothing. And I think the chat would like, huh?
I said it's space for two.
There's definitely you could probably fit 3 or 4 people up there very uncomfortably.
Me personally, I'm going up there with a wingsuit. It gets hectic. I'm just jumping off, put my wingsuit, and bye.
Yeah, so I think you guys will like it. Like I said, it's on Stars. You can buy it on Prime, on Amazon Prime for like $20, or rent it for like $5. You're not 100% off. You're not 100% off. Like, they got that adrenaline junkie stuff, and it's not a video game, so they're honed by reality. Like they're not going to get off of this without some crazy stuff happening. And the hard part is they're trying to get help, but it's hard because they're so high up that there's no cell phone service there.
That's ridiculous.
Because
shout out to Mr. Joanna Dark. Met him at the New York Video Games Awards. Lovely individual to meet in person. Very personable. I mean, it's so great to actually get out and meet, people and, have great conversations and share a moment and experience. You can go check his timeline. I suggest everybody goes to his Twitter page. It's Mr. Joanna Dark, and follow him. And check out his stuff, man. He's a cool dude, and I really respect that he showed up. And shout out to Sinister and everybody that's here. Got 32 people watching. Thank you for tuning in. especially on Valentine's Day. This will be a very quick hour because Attic is in sexy time Attic
Oh
clothes.
my god.
And me personally, I am ready for the show.
So, all right. I think a lot of people are here for this. What's crazy, we got two big topics. This next topic is Flash.
Oh God, yes.
So we are talking about the Flash. Now I do got a Patreon question related to the Flash, so I was going to save it for this particular part. We got a Patreon question from Dip Down Games and Anime. What are your feelings towards the Flash trailer? Does Gunn have them on the right track? People are hyped about Michael Keaton being back. Keep up those anime reactions. They are fire. Fire. Fire emoji. I had to say all three fire emojis. So, I did react to this. So you on the R&R channel, you could see my raw reaction to this trailer. I was so oblivious to like the older Batmans. The George Clooney's the earliest Batman I can remember.
Okay.
So I didn't know there was people before him.
Okay.
And apparently this dude is the 80s Batman.
Oh yeah, that's the first big screen Batman. Michael Keaton gave Batman that cool, because before then, from the TV show, Adam West did a corny type of Batman. Adam West Batman was tongue in cheek, fun, something that can be shown on television. But this Batman, Tim Burton's Michael Keaton's Batman, is something fantastic, and him and Jack Nicholson set the pace for what these superhero movies should be like. So he's very iconic in this role.
Yeah. Question about this, because I don't know a whole lot. First off, let's go ahead and take care of this Patreon question. Do you think that Gunn has them on the right track? I don't think this particular film has anything to do with Gunn. This film was already almost done before he switched roles. I think he might have switched certain things in it, but I think the overall perspective of the movie hasn't been changed.
No. The script and stuff was already done. He went in to do a lot of reshoots and stuff like that. But at the same time, they still kept the film. They got rid of Batwoman, or Batgirl, whatever they was going to call it. They got rid of, no, it was Batgirl. They got rid of the Batgirl film because they said it was unwatchable. It was an unmitigated mess of a film, and they just ate the 20 million or whatever million that they put into the film. So the Flash this movie is very necessary for his starting off the DCEU. Without this film, he can't do it. It doesn't happen. So this film has to happen in order to set everything right. So that's why this film had to come out. Even though Ezra Miller was charged with the stuff that he was charged to, and he pled guilty for whatever he pled guilty for, and he has to do whatever he has to do with that. I believe that Warner Brothers is going to walk away from Ezra Miller after this film. But the only person I think
part of me feels like they're not going to. I don't know why.
But they pretty much said he's done.
I wonder what they're going to do at the end to like show another Flash to like
kill him.
They're going to kill him?
Yeah, kill him. Because all right, so okay, in the comic books,
imagine what it would be like to be Ezra Miller and you screw up to that degree, and you're like, okay, maybe I'm fine, and then the director calls you, yeah, we need you to come and fill some shoots about you dying. Like,
well, the thing about it is Barry Allen always dies. He's never the Flash. Wally West takes that role. Wally West is the young Flash. So Barry Allen is always supposed to die. He dies in Crisis Between Infinite Earths. And if you're doing Flashpoint, the Flashpoint is going to precipitate his death, because he's going to probably be racing against time to set back everything that he broke. And in doing so, he's going to meet himself. And when he meets himself, and I'm talking about when he meets himself inside the Speed Force, he's going to have to outrun death. And when he has to outrun death, he's going, the Grim Reaper.
I did see that in the Flash TV show.
Yeah.
because I remember Tyler introducing me to that show, and there was like a Flash that was like decayed and stuff, like he was
Yeah.
messed up. Is that like the original Flash that was
No,
re?
that's
Or
the
is,
Speed Force, and he goes and he eliminates anomalies in the timeline from speedsters that has broken the law in the time space continuum.
is there any particular reason he has like the Flash's outfit and stuff on?
At some point in time, the Flash becomes that.
Okay, that's why. Okay, I see that. I see that. I think when it comes to this, I honestly do think that Gunn is going to use this movie to like kind of restart the whole thing, all of it.
Yeah.
Because if you see, they brought back, General Zod, which really surprised me. I didn't expect that. I'm curious how they do that. It'd be crazy if he lives.
Well, remember. Okay, I'm gonna give you the quick synopsis. Remember, he went into a different timeline, and he's been searching timelines to find the time. And this is Barry Allen. This is the Flash. This is Ezra Miller. He's been searching different timelines to find the timeline that his mother is still alive in. And then he finds the timeline that his mother's still alive in, but it happens to be the timeline that Michael Keaton's Batman.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
So
Yeah, okay, so that's making a little bit more sense.
right.
Because if you notice, there's two Batmans in that trailer. There's the Ben Affleck Batman and the Michael Keaton Batman.
Right. And he's talking to Ben Affleck in the beginning, and he's telling Ben Affleck, this is what I can do. I can do this. And Ben Affleck is like trying to give him reason, like, bro, you're going to break something, you're going to do something. And he does break it. And he gets stuck into that time, and he sees his mother, but there's repercussions to it because when doing so, he has eliminated all metahumans, right? So there's no metahumans that can stop Zod when Zod comes in. And Zod comes down. When Zod comes down, Zod wants to take over the planet. He still wants to terraform this planet. There's no Superman to stop that. So
I wonder where Superman is.
He doesn't exist. He was killed.
How was he killed though? Like
he was killed in the planet. He was killed. So instead of
but you see Supergirl in it. So
right, Kara gets out. Whatchamacallit, Cal doesn't never leave. So Kara gets off the planet because Kara. All right, so in our original timeline, Kara and Cal are both shipped out, but Huz has a malfunction, and Huz her ship gets stuck in space a little bit longer than Cal is. But so when Cal is on Earth, he's on Earth for a longer period of time. So he's absorbed more of the sun rays. So he's a little bit stronger than when she lands, right? And then when she lands, he's older than she is, if that makes any sense, even though when they left, she was older than him.
Because he aged quicker with the sun.
No, it was just a time difference between her getting from the planet. She was still in cryogenic freeze, and he was living his life or whatever.
It took her longer to get to the planet, and her whole body was frozen. So
right. So all right. So she gets here, but okay. So now I don't know how they're going to tell this story, but she's here. He isn't, and James Gunn says that she's going to be the Supergirl woman. I mean, the Supergirl movie is going to be his jumping off point for like metahumans and stuff like that. If they can have the continuum in that world, I thought the trailer showed too much because I didn't want to see Supergirl. And anytime a movie shows so much in a trailer, it kind of
they show Batman, Flash. The Flash doppelganger, they definitely show too much.
They didn't show the doppelganger. Okay, so what you saw was, remember, there's two Ezra Millers, right? So when he catches the power of the Flash, he's trying to reenact the thing that gave him his power. He probably sparked the other Flash, the other Ezra Miller, into having the Speed Force. So our Ezra Miller already has the Speed Force. He's making sure that Ezra Miller, that Barry Allen, catches the Speed Force.
Oh yeah, and probably
two different Flashes,
and probably both. You need both of them to win that fight, which is crazy because if you think General
I don't
Zod.
know who's. I don't think General Zod is the main antagonist. That's the thing.
Well, at least they didn't tell us that if he's not. Like,
Yeah, but
I
it was a
I
good
agree with
surprise
you.
though.
I actually think they should have been vague on Batman being in it.
Well, we
Like,
knew already that it was two Batmans. I knew a long time ago Michael Keaton was there, but then they went back and said they wrote Michael Keaton out. But then come to find out that James Gunn has kept Michael Keaton's Batman there because they didn't want to confuse the audience. But Ben Affleck is not coming back as Batman. That's done. So
you
I don't know where they go with this. Is Patterson's Batman? Patterson's Batman is in an Elseworld type of Batman. So what do they do
you
from this
think they'll
jumping off
retcon his
point?
Batman into the DC universe?
I don't think so. I don't think Patterson even wants to be in Batman movies for 20 years. I
Hmm.
don't think so.
Yeah, I guess to me when it comes to this, I actually this particular movie just jumped up in my hype, like
Mhm.
way high. Like originally, I'll probably watch it because I have to do R&R with it, but it wasn't gonna be something I'm gonna be like, "Yo, King, I gotta go watch it the Friday it comes out." But now I'm just like, okay, I think I'm more excited for this than maybe even Guardians of the Galaxy now. Like,
Oh, you saw that one too?
yeah, that was
We
pretty
didn't get a
good.
chance to talk about that one too. What?
I
Okay,
reacted to that
so
one too.
are we finished with this? Because I give my synopsis on it. Did you give your synopsis on it? Like, you said your trailer got your excitement super high. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Right.
I think it's going to be a good movie. I think people are going to really enjoy this, and hopefully they leave you wanting more after this movie.
I hope so.
You'll be crazy if they kill Michael Keaton's Batman.
And it might.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
so
like
you
one
never
of
read
those things.
Flashpoint, the book. I did,
I've never read it.
and I'm gonna give it. You know what? They got a cartoon, and I'm gonna check and see if it's on HBO Max. And I want you to read. I want you to watch the cartoon. Forget the book. I want you to watch the cartoon because I'm pretty sure it was pretty. It was done really, really well, and you might really like that. You might really
Well,
like it a lot.
tell me if it's on HBO Max. If not, what's that service that people put like digital movies into?
I don't know. We can't say it.
Yeah. No, no. Like you literally put your digital codes into it, like that you get from
Oh,
buying movies, like
oh,
Vimeo. Or,
I know what you're talking about.
yeah. Well, Tyler's got like a bunch in there, and he's got like a giant movie collection. So if HBO doesn't have it, he probably has it. I can
I'm
watch it on that
I'm
digital
pretty
thing.
sure he has it,
Yeah,
but it's
dude,
good.
it's ridiculous how many movies that dude has.
All right,
Uh,
Guardians of the Galaxy.
all right.
I
So
gotta do
hold up,
that.
hold up,
Yeah,
hold up.
get that up. Pause.
The next thing we want to talk about is Guardians of the Galaxy. That trailer. I saw that, and what I saw is the fact that they're introducing people I've never seen.
High
They
evolutionary.
hold up, who was the dude that was fighting? I can't
The black
remember
guy.
his. Huh?
The black guy.
No, it was
You
the
talking
white
about Adam
guy,
Warlock?
Adam Warlock. I
He look
think
gold.
the gold dude. Yeah, the gold
Yeah,
dude.
Adam Warlock.
I have no clue who he is. So give me a play
He's
by play.
hugely important to the MCU. Now you would have thought that when they did the Infinity Gauntlet, him and Thanos, he is like the arch nemesis to Thanos. He Adam Warlock first name is him, and he was created. And the being that they have the high evolutionary in the trailer, which is the black guy, and he has his skin pulled across his face. If you saw the trailer, it's like how they doing the high evolutionary is dope because they're giving you the story of Rocket Raccoon, and he wants to go back to his homeworld because he wants to stop him. And what he does is he takes animals and what they say is they modify them. But what he says is he hates what he sees, so he tries to change it, and that's Rocket's viewpoint on him. So you see Rocket's girlfriend there because he goes back and she's a sea otter, and she has a robotic arm, and you see that, and you're going to see a lot of man beasts that he makes. The high evolutionary does, but the high evolutionary is supposed to take Adam Warlock and turn him into Adam Warlock. Turn him from him into Adam Warlock, where he's a sentient being. So that gem that he has on his head
So
is supposed to be a soul crystal.
I don't think it was that dude. I remember Thanos' brother is an Eternal, correct?
Yes.
That's not this dude.
Well, Thanos. No, that's not Star Fox.
Okay. Because
All
I
right,
don't
so-
I don't know these like these random characters. I just don't.
No, it's fine. This is perfect because you're going to get introduced to a whole bunch of different characters, and this is what I like about James Gunn. James Gunn takes a lot of unknown characters and he makes you know them and make you fall in love with them, but also takes well-known characters like the Collector and the Grandmaster and characters like that, and have you understand more about them. So you're going to learn more about Adam Warlock. What I liked in the trailer, and they showed Peter Quill and what was Thanos' daughter, the robot one. She was holding him. Nebula was holding him, and his body was draped in her arms. I think that is a fake out. I think it's not a real scene, and I think they have somebody else that they're carrying there, and it could be Drax. I think it could be Drax, or it could be it might be Drax. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. The real elephant in the room is, why is Dave Bautista looking like he eating cheeseburgers at a rate that is going out of style? I mean, I'm not.
Isn't he done with his
dude,
contract? Hasn't he pretty much been very
so.
vocal that he's done?
But
Because
buddy.
it's highly rumored. Oh, Tyler said he does have it on there, so I'll be able to watch it next week.
Oh, thanks, Tyler. What's up?
I'm curious to see if someone really does die. Do you think someone's gonna die in this movie?
Yes.
Or do you think multiple people are gonna die in this movie?
We got 56 people. We only got 31 likes. Please, let's fix that up. Oh, hold on. Boston Ray, what's going on with the $5 super chat? Adam is incredibly strong and very important to the MCU. Both Guardians and Flash look fantastic. That is true. He is hugely important to anything that's space worthy. So when you get the Silver Surfer and you get Galactus coming in and all that stuff, he's definitely necessary to start furthering those conversations, because when you do get a chance to break the multiverse, and we're going to get that in Ant-Man this week, and Mr. Attic and I will be talking about that next week.
Yeah, so most likely, because what I want to do with the spoiler cast is, unless there's something seriously going down, right, I want to dedicate that whole show to that spoiler cast. You know what I'm saying?
I got you. And
like, you know how the thumbnail has 3 different pictures?
Just one.
I want that to be 3 different pictures of that movie.
Of the same movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm down with you. Yeah, so I think we're going to see the rebirth of Thanos. I think this is where Adam Warlock plays a huge part. So Guardians of the Galaxy sets up Adam Warlock and his gathering his strength. And if anybody played the video game, which is a great video game, I suggest y'all do so you can get more versed in Adam Warlock.
I'm gonna have to play it. Kid Smooth bought it and I never even booted it up.
You definitely should. It's a damn good game. But then also, Kang is going to have a face-off with Thanos at some point in time in this movie.
In this movie?
I believe so.
You think Thanos is going to be in this movie in some way, shape, or form?
They're going to go into the timeline. They're going into the multiverse. So there's multiple timelines, and yes, I believe so. I mean, that's my prediction for it. That's the way that you bring Thanos back, and you have to pit Thanos versus Adam Warlock. And if Adam Warlock happens to have a soul gem on his head, then he's going to want to get that soul gem off of Adam Warlock's head.
That'd be interesting. Mm-hmm. Do you think they bring Thanos back in the Ant-Man movie?
Yes.
And you think that will carry over to the Guardians?
I think they bring him back in the Ant-Man movie, and in Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't think they touch on it. I think it's something a little bit down the line that you probably get in Kang Wars and something.
Do you think that they'll bring him back in a big way, or the Ant-Man, or it'll be like an after credit scene?
No, I think it's going to be a main scene in the movie.
Oh, man, scene. It's going to be interesting. I think Friday's when the movie comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we'll next week will be a spoiler cast on Ant-Man. Going to be interesting. I'm very curious to see on that. So, people in the chat, go watch it this weekend, man. If you want to be there live when we talk about it, man, go watch it this weekend. We're going to get right into it. What I like about what I see on Guardians of the Galaxy is just, I like that they never lost the tone of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yep.
It feels exactly how it felt from the first one. Some could be good, some could be bad. I know some people like evolution. I don't think there's not evolution in this, but the tone never changes. You could still evolve characters without evolving what the tone of the movie was always about.
I mean, like Thor, how Thor changed from exactly.
Yeah, I didn't like that. Like Thor kind of started as a dark movie. And then they just got lighter and lighter and lighter, and now he's like it's so bad that the main character of Thor, what's his name?
Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth. He's like, he don't even want to play Thor anymore unless he has more creative control over Thor.
Well, yeah, because he didn't like the backlash that he got over the last movie. But that's Taika Waititi, and he didn't have anything to do with the other two films that was in there. I think The Dark World was the one that I felt was deplorable. And then I like Taika Waititi's take on it, Thor Ragnarok, and then the last one.
Ragnarok was the best one to me.
Yeah, and Love and Thunder. I think he leaned too heavily into it, but James Gunn for the Guardians of the Galaxy, I mean, he did all three of them. So,
ooh, something happened to King. Hold up, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I have no clue what happened there. Okay, continue.
and James Gunn actually did all three of them, so he keeps that continuity between the characters there. So
yeah, I think the coolest thing about this is like just the character development. I like in the commercial, in the trailer, they were sitting there and Star-Lord was talking to Gamela. What is her name?
Oh, which one?
The green one.
You're talking about Jesus. Now I'm blanking.
One's Nebula. I know that. That's the blue
Nebula
one.
is the sister, and
Gamora.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're talking to Gamora, and she's like saying stuff that they don't get a lot. Like, why are they why was the dead her attracted to her? And they're saying stuff, and she's like saying the reasons, and then he's like, yeah. Then she's like, it's like you should be attracted to her. Looking at Nebula, and Nebula's like she pauses for a second, and then it's like, oh God, she's kind of right.
He's like, look at your eyes, right?
She looks at Star-Lord, and Star-Lord like, stop looking at me like that.
Yo, first I want to say thank you, Killian Brown. Welcome to Lord Brown's. Thank you, my brother. I do appreciate it. We appreciate everything. We have 63 people watching. Again, wipe your feet, hit that like button, share it out to a friend. It's on Valentine's Day. We got Sexy Time Addict. Come on, man. Is that not worth a couple of likes? Sexy Time Addict? Come on, man.
Yeah, so all right. One thing I liked about this is Groot. Groot was huge, had guns, had multiple hands. Like, Groot came to this for smoke. Like,
he's a teenager. He's a young adult now.
Yeah,
so
it's just crazy that we got like the old Groot at the beginning, remember? Yeah. And then we got like the little kid Groot. Then we get the teenager Groot. Now we're getting the young adult Groot, and he's buff, dude. He's like he's been in the gym for like 8 months.
Yo, he's crazy, Diesel. I like. It's a scene in the trailer where you have Star-Lord down on one knee, and Groot falls on top of him, and you think Groot crushes him. But actually what Groot does is when he falls on top of him, he like forms an exoskeleton, and he takes the guns that's on Star-Lord that Star-Lord has, and he has his guns, and they go back to back, and they turn it around and they're shooting. Beautiful stuff.
It's gonna be good, man. I have a lot of hope for this. This is a crazy year of movies. It's just insane. Like every month there's stuff to watch. And
hopefully we get sponsored by Paramount and
AMC. Hopefully AMC does something a little bit too.
For us. Yeah.
Yeah. Paramount, AMC. Pull that truck up.
Holla at your boys. We'll be
all right.
there.
So that's pretty much all I got on Guardians of the Galaxy. I think that people are really gonna like that movie.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna love it. Oh, I hope I do. Hope I'm right with the bait and switch of the trailer. To be honest with you, and I hope I'm wrong on the Flash. I really do. I hope they didn't show too much. The last time I seen that was Batman versus Superman, and they showed Doomsday and they showed Wonder Woman, and they kind of let the cat out the bag way too early. So I hope that doesn't happen again.
All right, so King, we gotta talk about it. Last of Us, episode 5. You know, I think that this is definitely one of the only times you're gonna see me like kind of talk positive about the show.
Oh, let's go ahead and
I still am not feeling the overall perception of the show, but what I will say about this particular episode is it was starting a little bit to clean itself up a little bit. Obviously, I don't think that the damage has been done for me, but I do think this is one of those things where this is enough where I could say, okay, we could start to savage a little bit. We could start to have like the end of the show be, we got 3 episodes left. There was a good aspect to everything that went on in this show. We saw stuff that I believe should have been in the show already, but I digress. I'm not going to really push back too much because I do think they showed the bloater in a very good way. Actually, I got a picture of the bloater right there. He's huge. He's disgusting. And that's exactly how I expected the bloater to show up.
Right.
Especially how he looks. So first thing I want to talk about is, the overall, I don't want to go into, the drama of the town. I don't want to really go into what happened in the show yet. I just want to get your overall perspective of episode 5 of The Last of Us.
Okay. So, when I talked to you earlier today, my wife never saw The Last of Us, and I'm playing the remastered one on my PlayStation 5. And I'm probably going to buy The Last of Us Part 1. They got it for $39, and I might do that. I might, make it an executive call to do that because I'm playing the remastered version, and buddy, it doesn't age too well. So it looks clean, but she's seeing it, and she's seeing a little bit of the differences. This episode, it's kind of went back to how 1 and 2 was, how the tone of 1 and 2 felt. It felt like 3 and 4 was like 4 I didn't really like too much, but 1 and 2 was really good to me, and 3 was its own little thing that had a lot of controversy around it. I think this episode 5 is giving you a nice tone and trying to get back, and then I did see familiar parts from the game to the show, and it kind of played very well because I think those scenes needed to play out how it played out, and it did a good job in doing so. I saw a lot of violence. I saw the humans. I saw the clickers. I saw the infected. I saw the town with the sniper that was at the high point that kept them there. They had to move from car to car. So these things was all Last of Us feeling. The atmosphere felt like a post-apocalyptic world. When it was down in the tunnels, I felt very claustrophobic. So it was so many things that was done in the storytelling, not even talking about the interaction between the characters. I'm just talking about scene to scene, that it felt like how The Last of Us is supposed to feel. You felt kind of hopeless in a lot of parts in this the film, and I noticed it because I was watching my wife, and she was like shaking, to be honest with you, because there was certain scenes that she was grabbing my shoulder and asking me, "Is he gonna die? Is he going to die?" And I'm like, "I'm not answering your questions. Just, excuse me, let it play out." So yeah, it was really good stuff.
All right. First off, let's brush up a little bit on the bloater. We'll talk about the city drama too real quick. I actually feel like the city drama was a little bit better than they did in the game.
Right.
But I do feel like they should have, expanded it more. I personally feel like the biggest issue of this show is the amount of episodes that they were worth investing into. I feel like 8. They would have gave 2 more episodes, a good 10 episode season like most people do these days. I feel like you could have gave a whole episode to navigating the political disaster that was known as this town. You know what I'm saying?
8 episodes?
It's 8 episodes.
That's where the discrepancy came from. I'm thinking 8 seasons. It's 8 episodes. Sound like a total idiot now. But go ahead.
Yeah, so I personally feel like they should have expanded more on this. One thing I want to say is the woman that is running the town.
Catherine?
I don't feel like no one would ever back her in any way, shape, or form. Like, I don't feel like she gives any qualities whatsoever, any characteristics that you would believe in to run to successfully be a leader to you. I think she's extremely emotional. She doesn't really, take the
It's
group.
9 episodes.
9? Oh, okay. She
9.
doesn't really take the group's opinion on anything. She doesn't take the group's needs for anything. When she shot the doctor, there was no, like, are we going to need this doctor? There was, I'm emotional, so I'm going to kill the doctor. And to me, you look at good leaders in TV, like one person I can think of right now is Rick from The Walking Dead. You know, he never would have made a move like that. Even if he did not like that person, he would have put the needs of the group over the needs of himself. And to me, I didn't understand why these people backed her so much, because she didn't put anything into, to be honest with you, this dude right here, he felt, to me, he had more leadership tendencies than she did.
I'm gonna give you the pushback on it. The pushback on it is, she told you how her brother, I believe her brother name was Michael, how he was a great leader. Even Henry said how much of a great leader he was, how much of a noble man he was, how you would want to follow him to the ends of the earth. How he's talking about a person he ratted out, and how much everybody looked up to him. But that guy we have on screen right now, we're gonna call him Hitman number 1, General number 1.
Yeah, he didn't really add a whole lot to the show.
No,
he really didn't.
But he had the respect.
His dilemma, I felt, was more like, if I was going to follow someone in a scenario like that, I would follow someone like that feels like they have their stuff together and they got a mindset on what's better for everyone. Like, I honestly do feel like he had the intentions of the whole group over himself, and I just didn't feel that way about the chick. I don't see how she can captivate and charisma and be charismatic enough to get them people to follow her.
But so the thing with him is, he's following her because she formed real change. The other dude wasn't about action. And remember, they said 20 years Fedra occupied their city, Kansas City. So for 20 years, Fedra occupied the city and was beating, raping, and killing people. And Michael was in charge. Michael got sold out, and she got in charge. Once Catherine got in charge, Catherine formed real change. She formed the revolt. She formed the overthrow of Fedra. So this is the reason why the people are behind her, because she actually put those words and put power to the people, and they actually got Fedra out of there. So they're gone. So this is the reason why the people are following her and believing in anything that she says, is because she's the one that actually caused real change and changed what the oppressive nature was from Fedra to them having actual control right now. So I yes, liberated them, JD. She was that emotional, unemotional, caring, uncaring individual that pushed change. And she pushed change in such a way that you had the hardened soldiers following her. One thing I didn't like is, in the end of episode 4, they saw at the bottom of the floor was warping, and he knew what was down there, and they didn't handle that then and there, which led to what happened later.
And that's the reason I'm not vibing with her being the leader there. Like, because in that instant,
we got to ride with her anymore?
Huh? No, not really. But in that incident, he was like, yo, this is a serious. We got to deal with this. And what did she say? We'll deal with this later. And then, we don't really know because at that time, we never seen one of those do what it did. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't know what kind of damage that could do. The fact that they seen it, and they were so concerned when they saw it, they knew what that was about. They knew what could happen with that. And to me, that's why I just find it, if they would have had people there that was saying, yo, I think you are more cared about your brother's revenge than you care about our safety, our needs, us as a group. Then if I would have seen a little bit of back and forth with the actual people and her, I would say that's more realistic. But to me, they were riding for this chick no matter what she did. She could say, yo, go over there, jump off that cliff, and try to grab us an apple that's on that tree in the middle.
She's gonna do it.
Yeah, to me, I didn't see it, man.
She was heartless. She was heartless in a way. When she had the room full of snitches, shout out to the snitches. Shout out to the gunnies that's out there. She had a whole room full of gunnies, and they was sitting there. One little gunner sat there and was like, "Yeah, Henry is loose, and he's being held up in a little hidey hole downtown." Yeah, that's how they caught the doctor. That's when she offed the doctor, and she killed everybody in that room. Snitches. This was the best episode for Stop Snitching. You saw this episode? This was the best episode for Stop Snitching. If you are snitching, please watch this episode and change your ways before Catherine runs down on you and puts you under.
She gonna find you, man. She gonna find you. She gonna ruin your life.
Nah, yo, the best scene in this joint was when Henry talking to Joe and said, "Yeah, man, I'm a collaborator." He said, "Yo, I don't rep no snitches, man."
Yeah, did you like how Henry was extra with him? You going to do it today?
He said, "Well, today you repping a snitch." I said, if that wasn't the best, I'm the only guy you got, and I'm a snitch.
Say, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Nothing. You gonna do exactly what I tell you to do.
You gonna ride with me because I'm gonna get you out of here. I'm a snitch and I got the key. Yo, I don't care. That was absolute dopeness. Because it was like, what you gonna do? I'm a snitch. That's it. And I'm telling you to your face, I don't rep no snitches. Even in a post-apocalyptic world, snitches ain't got no lames. See? Told you, gunny face.
So speaking of Henry, I want to talk a little bit about Henry. Do you think that he did a really good job at portraying Henry as a character?
Yeah.
I agree. I think that he was actually one of the highlights of the whole episode was Henry was able to, really give you a vivid opinion on them without taking too much of, what he actually has done in the world. Because you could tell he's got his own demons, and you could tell that Henry has been out there. He's been fighting these streets, and he's just tired. And what I like is just the realism of him. He's like, yo, I need your help. He's like, well, why can't you do? He's like, dude, I can't fight. I know I can't fight. I don't go in situation for me to fight. You know what I do? I snitch. And if I can't snitch, you know what I do? I team up with people that don't know their way around the town, so they have to fight for me.
Yeah, like he said, I saw you. I saw what you did. Like I saw how you was able to handle yourself. Anytime, and this is the reason why he's such a good actor. Anytime he heard a gunshot, anytime you saw commotion, he flinched. He jumped. And when they were in a precarious moment, when they was getting shot at, his first thought was to run, not to fight. So, at that point, he wasn't a fighter, but he was smart enough to know that Joel, had nerves of steel, and Joel in a situation where his fight or flight will kick in and he'll run. Joe is a fighter, and him putting his confidence behind Joel's ability was smart.
How did you feel about them making Sam deaf?
It worked to the narration of the film.
I did too. I didn't have an issue with that. I felt like, that gave it a little bit more. The only thing I didn't like is at the
Believability?
beginning, Sam stepped on glass and he acted like he didn't know what glass made noise. It's like, dude, you're in a post-apocalypse world and you've been everywhere. There's no way you've never stepped on glass the entire time you've been in this post-apocalypse world.
But he didn't hear. So
So
I mean,
do you get it from like he was asking Henry if it made noise, or he was asking Henry did it make noise? Like, because to me it kind of seemed like he was asking, is stepping on glass going to make noise? You know what I'm saying?
What I got from it was it loud noise.
Oh, okay,
right?
okay. I can
Right?
see
Because
how see how you can get that.
Yeah, because he was just like, it make noise, like follow, how we do, and I'm not mimicking sign language. I don't know sign language
At all.
I'm not even sit here and try to act like I do. And they navigated through it. It was, he just kept imparting the world. He was always conscious that he couldn't hear, and he always took the time out to tell him what was going on.
Yeah, especially when they're talking about how to get out of the city. Like, he
Yes.
tapped on this. He's like, how we getting out? And he put it on this thing. He's like, tunnels. Like,
Yeah, because he knew. Oh, like, hold on. We got Hollywood Rules with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Hollywood. Kang, we got this. Glad to see you back, brother. Attic, you keep up the great work. Thank you.
Appreciate it, man.
Great work. Thank you. Yes, yes, of course. I wasn't missing today. I was just overworked, completely overworked on Sunday, and I truly missed a great episode. I definitely wanted to sit down with the comedian. I had some good comedian jokes too, man.
Yeah, and one thing you ain't gonna want to miss this weekend. Chat.
Oh, no.
Like, no, chat.
Make sure that you're there this week a little bit early. Trust me. Or you're gonna have to just go back and watch the episode from the very.
No, they won't have to. We have precautions in place for people that can't see it. So,
Okay,
all right. Well, I want to talk a little bit about the ending. Now let's go into the spoiler territory right here. So,
all right,
if you guys ain't seen the episode, you got the spoiler room, the red everywhere, man. There's no way you can't see the difference in the temperature in the room right now. It's hot in here, man. I'm sitting here. If I had a fan, oh my God, it's hot in here. That means if you can't take the heat, walk out the door. The door's in the back, man. Go. All right, so how did you feel about this is the part of the movie, the part of the show. First off, I still don't like how they're staying away from violence. They're still doing it. When it came to the sniper, I felt like the sniping scene was worse because there wasn't a lot of pushback. The sniper's sitting there up at the top sniping down. He sees Joe running to the right, and he doesn't have a mindset to be like, yo, he's trying to sneak up behind me. You know what I'm saying? He's continuing shooting at nothing at that point. Because, they're hiding behind the car. They said they weren't going to move, which they could have moved. We don't know. It's off screen. But to me, you saw the person go out of your line of sight. Obviously, he has one goal and only to sneak up behind you. Got a $5 super chat from Hollywood Rose King. Oh no, okay.
Yeah, I got that one.
I don't know. Okay, sorry. So, what is your mindset on that? Like, do you want to hold that against the show any?
No, they wanted to reenact the scene from the video game inside the video game.
But even the video game, when you popped in there, he wasn't at the window like that. He was prepared to attack Joel the moment he walked in. And to me, they made that person an idiot. You know what I'm saying? Like, sure, maybe the person that they put out there, they shouldn't have put out there because he was an idiot. Like, you see the dude leave, you should have been ready to give him that smoke. But, I get where you're coming from.
I mean, I wasn't too hung up on it. They could have been, distracting him down there at the bottom. We do that a lot in Fortnite. I have we just did it right now. We have people distracted, and 9 times out of 10, when you're aiming down the scope, you don't get a chance to see who moved out of your peripheral, and it's nighttime. So,
but he was attempting to shoot him the whole time he was running. He was following him with the barrel. So, I mean, I guess we don't really have to linger on that too much if you don't want to, because there's not a whole lot of explanation for that. If they would have had more into that scene, it would have took away from the actual good part of the episode. So I'm okay with that, but I do feel like it should have been a little bit more realistic. And that's one of the parts that them going away from the game was a little annoying, but it wasn't enough where I'm going to sit there and stab him with a little knife over and over again. I think you should have did it better, but it is what it is. It's not like the end of the world. Now, this next part is where I honestly feel like.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to read JD. She gave orders for him to hold, and they were on the way. But JD, when those orders came through, he was dead already.
Yeah.
So,
And not to
I don't
mention,
know.
you get orders to hold that position. Don't sit there like an idiot getting about to get stomped on. Like,
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, in old houses too, because I have an old house. Anytime you walk up steps, they creak, and it's late night. There's nobody else outside. You're the only person making noise. You're gonna hear those steps creak, and if I hear you creaking up my steps, best believe by the time you reach the top, you're gonna go right back down the bottom. So,
yeah, I would have just liked him try to get beside the door. Comes in, got a big barrel. It's not going to be easy close range like that. Joe had the upper hand in the first place. But to me, once again, the reason they didn't do that is because it would have been harder to kill him off camera if they had a close up fight like that.
Struggle.
And to me, doing decisions like that to make it less violent is hurting the show overall.
Well, I feel you, but there was a lot of violence in this episode.
But okay, so let's get to that. This is one of the times in the show where I think it played better in the show than the game, because you're able to do more. You couldn't have. Okay, so pretty much what happens is Joe picks up the sniper just like he did in the game. Shoots a driver that pretty much has like a giant trash truck that has been redesigned to pretty much be a bulldozer. So he shoots the driver. Driver goes in the house, blows up. So you think, okay, it's something gonna happen. Well, yeah, something definitely happens. So when we talked about earlier, like the giant sucking hole, apparently, coincidentally, there is one of those under that house, and the truck went under it. When it exploded, it busted the top off, and then there must have been 300 or 400 clickers that came out of that thing. Like it. This is one of the times where I feel like it was better in this. Like, in the game, Joel just sat up there and sniped like a couple dozen that got close to them. Maybe not even a couple dozen. That's probably exaggerating. But 10, maybe 5, 10. In the show, it's hundreds. Like it's so many that Homegirl brought the whole town to kill 2 people. It had to have been the whole town. It was many people.
It was at least.
It was all the gunners.
It was at least 30 of her good men.
And them clickers made quick work of them.
Very quickly. That's why when this guy asked him, when Henry asked him, you came across 2 clickers, and you're still alive? No, you're the right guy. You are the right guy. So he understands, and everybody there understood how dangerous they were. Let's talk about that kid clicker though.
Yeah, that's one of the things that you don't want violence. Like usually when it comes to kids, they leave them out. Like they don't kill them. They don't turn them into. There's been very few times. I remember Walking Dead episode 1,
Interview with a Vampire.
Yeah, well, Walking Dead episode 1, we saw the little girl zombie. Remember, like most of the time they stay away from little kids in general. But man, this little girl was crazy, following because there's a time where, first off, it's the amount of smoke that's going on in this show, and somehow Ellie has not been killed. Like I get it, Joe's up there protecting her, but the amount of clickers in this scenario, you can't protect them from that amount. I think that's why they added so many regular soldiers to divide the attention.
Well, what I liked about this, you saw Joe actually panicking.
Because it generally shocked him. He's probably never seen that many clickers in one place.
I don't think it was that. Well, maybe that's your assessment of it, right? So your assessment is probably right on your part. My assessment of it is, I'm watching it. Joe never let anybody get close to his heart after Sarah died. After Sarah died, he pretty much, went into mourning his kid, and very much a recluse, especially with his heart. And he only let Tress in, but so far. Now he has been tasked with watching the kid, and even Henry, told him, your father, I can tell in your eyes because Joel told him, he said, I'm sorry that I came at you that way, and you got a kid, and you just probably did what you felt that you had to do, because Joe probably played the scenario over in his head a couple of thousand times, and now that he's in charge of this child, because when Henry said, "Oh, your dad is crazy," that's not my dad. They both, I'm not her father, but during that scene where he was definitely panicked when the gun jammed and she was about to be mowed down by that big truck, and you saw it in his eyes. And I mean, I'm telling you, man, Pascal is playing one hell of a Joe, because the emotion is coming through where he is fighting for this kid, and I see the connection starting to build as far as what he would do for Ellie. But it has to get to the ultimate part. But we know in the video game, it has to, when he makes certain decisions, he has to have that parental feeling over this kid. He has to feel like this is his child. So I'm seeing it starting to form now, and he's giving so much to the character, and that I'm starting to see the connection, and I thought it was a good thing, especially in this whole episode. There was silent connections being made throughout every scene, and they're growing closer as the Ellie and Joel that we know from the game.
Yeah, I feel like this episode's one of the times where they showed violence, but it's clickers.
Yeah.
A lot of people have an issue with like how Sony did God of War. They took out like the human on human violence.
Yeah.
For the most part, you never kill humans in any of the new God of Wars. And so I think you're seeing more of that here, where it's like we're okay with clickers doing stuff. When they killed the big dude, let me put him on the background. When they killed this dude, no, not her. When they killed this dude, like,
when he snatched
it
his
panned
head
out like so far much you couldn't even really see it at that point. And like, I get it. They're trying to appeal to a wider audience. I understand that. But to me, there's better ways to incorporate violence that's more tolerable than this. Like, I feel like they went all the way to the left side. Because once again, if you really sit down and think about it, Joe's killed 2 people in this entire show.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be an apocalyptic world. And there's a lot of times in the show I just don't feel like it is. But this was a little... This part was better because I felt like the infected was an issue. Like, it wasn't necessarily the humans. It was the infected. And they came in huge hordes.
Well, Joe didn't get a chance to kill any humans, any people that he did shoot. Well, he did kill the 2.
He killed the
guy
2
with the sniper. Well, he killed a couple of people. The guy with the sniper, he killed him, and he killed the woman that was behind the wheel that was driving the truck.
Yeah, so he's up to 4. I forgot about them too. He's up to
now.
4 people.
But most of the kills were, clickers, infected. So to disassociate yourself with that level of violence on people, I think Sony is probably taking a stance that they don't want to look like they are glorifying human on human violence, if that makes any sense. But I know we come from the pedigree of the game where the majority of the antagonists is humans, and we have to take out a lot of humans along the way in the game. So the show is a departure from what we're used to, and sometimes it's a little jarring in us getting that experience that we want from the game. So I get it.
It's like, we're still in the spoiler scene. Gas Lightning said, I mean, Gabby's probably going to bash Joel's head in season 2. They're probably going to pan him off screen. Like, at this point, why would they not? Like, you see the commotion go, but instead, like, in the game, you saw the whole thing. But I feel like they're going to do like that, kind of like they did with the sniper on here, where she's going to swing up, going to pan off, and you're just going to hear him screaming or something. Like,
no, I know what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to make Ellie watch, and you're going to be watching the horror through Ellie's eyes, as you hear the
that's probably you'll probably see the golf club, or if they choose to use a golf club, you'll see it go up and down in her eyes, like her actual eyes. Yeah. So I mean, I think it's a good show. I think this is a good episode. What
This was
would
probably
you
one of the
give
best
this?
ones.
Yeah, I would say the only one that's even remotely this good is the first episode.
Well, I
Uh,
was a fan of the three, because what three encapsulated and what it did and was the story it told. Because I really understood Bill now, and Bill and Frank's story. So, and that's not a popular opinion with a lot of people, or some people do side with me. It's wherever you fall on the
we're
coin.
off the spoiler screen, by the way.
Yeah. Okay, but 1 and 2 definitely high watermarks. This one has to be a 5. This one has to be a 5 popcorn, for the simple fact that they showed urgency. They showed stealth. They showed stuff in the game that was in this episode. And I'm talking about scene breakdown to scene breakdown. That town when you're in iconic pieces, iconic set pieces. And then you got a chance to see what a horde of clickers does to militia. Now, not all militia was military trained. Shout out to Sir Duck. Not all of them was military trained, but some of them was. And the one that was highly military trained got his head ripped off his shoulders. So once the general went down, everybody else went down, to be honest with you. But again,
to be honest with you, there's nothing they could do. Did you notice the bloater got away?
Yeah, but he leads the pack. And he went right back to the town.
Yeah, they're all dead now too.
Yeah, by the time they get to the town, they're going to overrun that town because they left their defense. They could have. What I didn't like, we never touched on Sam being affected and Sam attacking Ellie, but we're all for spoilers, so watch it as you will. We never talked about if Henry never gave up Michael, they still be under federal occupation. Michael still be there. Sam would be dead. Because the outcome that Henry was trying to avoid was Sam being dead. But Sam died at Henry's hands. How disturbing that must have been to Henry, because he had no other option at that point in time but to do what he did. It was just, it was a real emotional roller coaster. And I'm watching it through with my wife and watching her react to what's happening on screen. And it's crazy to see somebody that has nothing to do with the video game absorb this world in the manner that she is. And it's like a fun trip, to be honest with you, to see how she's dealing with it. And it's crazy.
I feel you. That's where I'm off on that. It's like I said, that's why I didn't like her as a leader, because she led them into that situation.
Yeah.
Especially sending that many people to kill potentially 2 people. Because
she killed the whole town.
Yeah, for 2 people. It is what it is. But I think as far as it is, that's pretty much all for the Last of Us show we have for this week. We'll definitely cover Last of Us part. Most likely, unless this next episode's really good, we're gonna cover 6 and 7 together. Because next week will be Ant-Man.
And we're going to have a special guest on that show when we talk about Ant-Man. I'm going to hit him up this week because I told him to watch it. So I'm definitely going to send the bad signal out to him, because I do want his opinion on this, and I definitely want him here. So we're going to welcome him into the realm to talk about this movie with us and get his opinion on it. But also, anybody that subscribed to you said the $7.99 tier and the Patreon?
Yeah, and I'm ending the video for the Last of Us part 2.
All right. So make sure that you get into that Patreon to send your questions in. And remember, those questions go on any of the shows that we do have: the Addict Show, Iron Lords Podcast, and R&R with the Lords. Combat Talk with the King ain't really a thing. But please definitely check that out and give us these questions, so we have these questions when we see Ant-Man this week.
I'm putting the Patreon in the chat. So like I said, you guys go there. We have the $5 tier. You can ask any question, any of the shows, ILP, Addict Show, R&R with the Lords, and Combat Talk when there's fights for a king to do. And, $7 tier, you can see the reactions. We're reacting to anime right now. We're not just going to only react to anime. If you want us to watch something unique, you can always request that in the $10 tier, which, is to request us to react to certain things. If we get that tier gets too out of control, we'll probably make it a poll thing where if, we'll put 4 of the options that's in there and we'll let the whole Patreon members thing vote. I want to appreciate everyone for coming on. We had a pretty solid show. Once again, Last of Us took the ball out. We usually talk about that the most, but I appreciate everyone coming through, man. Hit that like button on your way out. Don't forget your shoes, because I don't need shoes. I got plenty of shoes. So get them shoes and hit that like button when you leave the door. But you better shut the door. Don't leave that shit open.
Close the door, please. It's a draft in here. Thank you so much. I see y'all next week, guys. Hey, Ant-Man this week. If you don't see it, don't worry about it, because we're going to tell you when to get out of the
I will write the show, and we'll talk a good amount at the beginning, non-spoiler, and then we'll go into the spoiler territory. But until next week when we do the spoiler cast on Ant-Man, it's peace.
Enjoy your Valentine's.